I created 4 cards for you today using Spellbinders Club kits from October 2025. I am using the large and small die of the month, the 3D embossing folder of the month, the Glimmer kit of the month, and the Stencil kit of the month. I have also timestamped everything for you. Hey everyone, it's Joy here and welcome to my channel. Okay, so we are going to start with the small die of the month. You have a darling snowman. There's 2 like little kids. I'm just going to use 1. Then there is a tree that has snow. You can also decorate it. And so I thought it'd be fun to create just this cute little wintry Christmas tree without being decorated, or like little forest type scene. So we have our snowman. We're going to have 1 child. I have die cut multiple trees so we can create this fun scene. I'm also going to be using the Glimmer hot foil kit on this card, but I have another card that I'm using with that later. So I mentioned I do have this time stamped for you guys in here. So if you just want to see one card, then you can go and grab that, or at least you know where it is. I'm using a little bit of a Copic marker to BG10 to color my snowman, and a little bit of pink for the cheeks. Most of these images I am not ink blending or coloring, but I did feel like the snowmen and some of the snow needed that, so it didn't feel like you just were die cutting white cardstock, if that makes sense. So here are my 3 trees, and I am just going to add glue in the areas where we're going to add our snow. And I will be using a little bit of glitter as well, just to give it a little something extra. I love how this scene turned out. It is really, really cute. So I'm just going to pop out my snow pieces and use my Pick Pro tool and get those in place. I also did want to mention that next year, starting in January of 2026, I will be doing all of the club kits for Spellbinders. So whatever club kit you have, or if you do all of them, you will be able to find that on my channel. I'm really very excited about that. So yeah, that will start in January of 2026. And so I thought I'm definitely going to need to stamp that. Actually, my husband brought it up to me. You should probably timestamp that. So I thought I would start now with my current videos as far as Spellbinders club kits go, so that way it's easy to find what you're looking for. You can look down in the description for what time is what, and then you can just go to that timestamp. So super, super easy. Okay, so now we have this last tree done. I'm going to put 2 of them will have little trunks. One of them I did not need a trunk for, so I didn't worry about making that. We have our snowman, we have our little kid here. So I did not make this Christmassy. This was more wintry. So I think this is perfect. If you could make Christmas cards with these, don't get me wrong, but it's also perfect for winter cards, winter birthdays, winter thank yous, winter congratulations, anything like that. You could make this card for that, which I think is really cute. So I have die cut all my paper that's not patterned paper is from Spellbinders. And so I used Pomegranate, which is the red, Acorn for the brown, a carrot for the orange, Teal Topaz obviously is teal, Fog is gray. I use a gold mirror cardstock. Rainforest is a really bright green. And then I have Fern, which is a deeper green for those trees. And then Indigo for the blue on this kid's pants. And then on one of the other dies. So really simple colors, but I kind of kept the color scheme throughout the whole thing, with the exception of the stencil of the month. I just did that a little bit differently. But for all the die cutting, I tried to keep that the same. So that way my life was easier. Okay, so let's glue on our cute snowman arms. Okay, so now let's glimmer. So this background is for this card, but this is the Glimmer kit of the month, and it's so cute. And I'm gonna laugh at myself because this is the Teal Topaz. And I went into my stash and grabbed the opal foil. This is not part of the kit, but I foiled my thing first without putting my foil in it. I just struggle bus all day long, you guys. It was so funny. I had ran it through and everything and pulled it out and I went, oh, that's wrong. So then I had to put the foil in it. So I ran that through my Platinum 6 die cut machine. I like to go slow forward and backward. I'm going to peel this off, and then we have this gorgeous background. It has snowfall and hearts and little, you know, kind of funky snowflakes, which is really cute. Then you have 4 sentiments, and I, again, reached into my stash and I got red foil because I thought having red sentiments on all of my cards would be really cute. I am foiling that on mixed media white cardstock from scrapbook.com. It's a thicker cardstock and it foils wonderful. Like, it's so wonderful how it foils. And then I'm just going to trim that out with my paper trimmer. So now part of that small die, you have this little snowy hill. I'm going to die cut that twice because I want to have 2 hills for my card, and this is obviously going to go at the bottom, and then we can create our little scene together. The sentiment I'm using for this is Let It Snow and Sparkle, which I think is perfect for building a snowman. I am adding 2mm foam adhesive at the very bottom of my bottom snow piece. That way I can just kind of tuck the second snow piece in just a little bit, and I'm going to glue that directly to the background. So I was deciding here, do I want foam adhesive behind that? But I opted not. So a little bit of tape runner, and I'm going to slide that down. And then we can get our scene built. Of course, I wanted trees in the background, but I also thought I want a tree right next to the little kid building the snowman. I wanted that to be in the front as well. Like, that is also part of the scene, that you have this fun little pine tree forest. And so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to let it hang off my card just a little bit. We'll trim that out, but it brings your eye all the way out to the sides of your card. It makes it feel like your scene just extends on forever. A little bit of foam adhesive behind, 2mm behind the snowman. He's so cute. He's just a cute little snowman. And then we have our cute little kid, and I'm going to do, I think I did 1mm foam adhesive behind him. So he's a little bit up from the snowman as well. And it looks like he's finishing up the snowman, getting him all cute and finished. Okay, so this tree, I'm going to tuck in the back. I didn't want all the trees to be even either. I wanted a little bit of different height, different size trees. So again, on the left, I'm having that one hang off. This one does not have the trunk because you're not going to see it. And then this one I can tuck just barely under that snow at the top. When I trim that piece off of this side here, I'm actually going to use it on the opposite side to give us one more tree. And I love how that turned out. I think it is so fantastic. I'm going to add foam adhesive for my sentiment and place it up here at the top. And at the end of the video, we will look at all of the cards. I'm going to add my BG marker for the snow here and on the trees. I'm also using scrapbook.com's clear shimmer pen to add to the snow as well. So wherever I highlighted with that BG10 marker, I'm going to add a little bit of that glitter, and I think it's perfect. I'm going to add glitter around the snowman on the top part of the little snowy hills, and super easy and cute. Okay, so we have our stencil here. I have it on a bigger piece of cardstock because we can trim him out when we're done. I am going to ink blend using Speckled Egg. So this is kind of like the sky around the snowman, because this is a big snowman face and I love it. I wish I would have put a snowman on every one of my cards. One card I did not, and when I was done I was like, oh, I should have done it that way because all 3 of my other cards have snowmen. Okay, so this has multiple stencils, of course. I think there's 5. Don't hold me to it. I can't remember for sure. But we're going to get all of our cute little features of our snowman. So here is the band for his hat. I am using lumberjack plaid, and I'm just using the sponge daubers from scrapbook.com that kind of fit on your finger. I really love those, you guys. I talk about it a lot because I really, really love them. Then we have spun sugar for the cheeks of this snowman. All the inks I'm using are Distress Oxide inks. And I'm trying so hard to not get my fingers in any of the ink because most of the snowman is white. And I did get a little bit of red and I had to use my eraser. I don't think I showed that in the camera, but I did. And it worked fine. But yeah, I was trying to be so careful and still messed it up. Here's the black soot for his hat and his mouth, and and his eyes. And I will come back because I forgot to do the brim of his hat. I don't know what the deal was, but I'll come back to that. I'm like, where's his hat? Like, here's his nose, but like, where's his hat? So I'll fix that. I am using spiced or dried marigold and then spiced marmalade for his nose because there's a little bit of a detail stencil for his nose. So let me bring that other one back in and we will do the brim of his hat with the black soot. I was kind of giggling at myself because I couldn't believe I forgot it. But how quick and easy is this card? You could make a ton of these cards and they are so darling. I love this big snowman. What a fun card. You know what I mean? Like super simple, super easy, but so fun. Then we have eyebrows and detail to his hat. And here's the detail for his carrot nose. I am just going to go darker with the lumberjack plaid for the ink blending here so you can see a little bit of that detail. I didn't want to pick a different color because I think that's just a fantastic red. And then lost shadow for his eyebrows, and then there's a little shadow underneath his neck. And I do trim this out with my paper trimmer just around the edges. I kind of get rid of that white frame. You could keep that white frame, but it would be a little bit bigger than an A2 size, I believe. Okay, cute. So I thought we need to add a little something extra. So he needs some greenery, some holly berries, some leaves. So I used Hero Art's Candy Cane Swag. And I love, this was like a release, I think in July, their Christmas release. And I have used it a couple other times outside of Hero Art's cards because I love these. So I'm just going to stamp these, use the coordinating dies. I'm using Lumberjack Plaid, Rustic Wilderness, and Mowed Lawn to give me a couple different greeneries. And this is just going to be something that adorns his darling little top hat. So we have the sentiment that says Joyous Noel that we did the Glimmer hot foiling with the red foil. So I'm going to put that down. That's where one of my little boo-boos was with the red, and I erased it, left some of it, but I'm like, I'm just going to hide it with my sentiment. Little bit of foam adhesive behind these leaves, and then we can put those berries in place. And then this one is done. Super cute, super simple, but really darling. Okay, now we have our 3D embossing folder of the month. It's a brick. I am going to run that through my die cut machine. I'm using Fog cardstock from Spellbinders. And then I'm going to use, what did I use? Lost Shadow. I just used the Lost Shadow Distress ink and just lightly went over the top to grab some of the detail. And you can see it. It's not super, it doesn't stand out like crazy, but it definitely adds a little something. This is going to be the backdrop to our large die of the month. We have this cute window. I call it a Christmas tree window. Anytime I look at houses or anything, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a perfect Christmas tree window. So this is that. So we have these little curtains here that I have die cut from patterned paper, the charming patterned paper from scrapbook.com, and the yellow cardstock there. It's really soft. That's from the Yellow's Smooth cardstock from scrapbook.com. Then this is the Indigo cardstock from Spellbinders, and this is the window, and I'm going to lay these pieces in and die cut out our windows here. I'm going to tape those in place, but I've already die cut everything else. This has fun detail to the windows. I just so love this. This is a fantastic die. It is so cute, makes really cute Christmas cards. This is the card I should have put a snowman on. When I was completely finished, I had all my cards together to kind of show you at the end, like the little showcase of cards. I was like, oh man, that was a missed opportunity. All right, so I was like struggling. So you need to put in your windows, nope, your curtains first, and then kind of work backwards. So the little yellow pieces that I die cut that I'm kind of ripping off the back of that curtain are the little shaped dies that I put in to cut out the windows here. So I cut those out from yellow because I want to have a light on essentially. So let's get our curtains lined up. They kind of line up at the top and get that glued down. And so it kind of overlaps to that center window, which I think that is a fantastic detail. I love that. So we're going to do that on both sides. And then we want to have our wall or our lights on. So that's where that yellow is going to come into play. I also want to actually, I changed this. I was going to glue, I do glue these down. So, but I change it because I realize I need some depth from the Christmas tree. So what I ended up doing is actually cutting a whole piece of yellow for the background, and it feels like it's further away. So I glued that on and ripped it off. You don't know how many times I ripped these things off because I think I was really tired and trying to get this all figured out. I was struggling. Here's our Christmas tree for inside. I'm going to put this together. We have our little star here. We have our fun Christmas balls on here in fun colors. That's where I use the pomegranate. Okay, what did I use? I used the pomegranate, the teal topaz. I think I used beeswax too for the yellow. The teal topaz, rainforest, and pomegranate. So fun colors. This is where I'm realizing, hold on, this has to be up front. I need to add some dimension. I need to add this other little piece down here. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place with this one. But this shows through on the front, so whatever color you want. I'm doing all white trim. So I decided for that to be white. And then this is where I'm like, okay, I need to do this differently. I need to have these glued in place, but I need something for that to be glued to. Here's my Christmas tree. I want to make sure that the star is not, above, although it's going to be hidden a little bit when we get our little window frames on the front. But this is where I'm like, yeah, something's wrong. I'm trying to glue this piece on the back. I'm like, this just does not look right. I don't like how it is. It's very flat. That piece is not fitting. Like, sometimes you just have to go through the motions of the struggle. So, like I mentioned, I am going to just cut a bigger piece of that yellow, that light yellow. I'm going to pop it up with foam tape. That's going to give me a little bit of dimension. I did a 2mm foam adhesive, so I'm going to just rip off the other yellow. It didn't matter if it kind of peeled some of the paper off the back. You can't even notice it. But this makes better sense. So you could have fun little wallpaper in the background. You could do all kinds of fun things. That would be really cute. But I kept it simple with the yellow like the lights were on. Here's that 2mm foam adhesive. I'm just kind of putting around the perimeter, and then I can adhere this piece down and then just trim off the excess. And then we have our background, which is perfect, which is what I should have done at the very beginning. Okay, look at that. How cute is it? You could totally make this a shaker. If you put acetate on, you could make that a cute little shaker. Wouldn't that be fun? See, sometimes you just don't think about it when you're in the middle of it, and afterwards you're like, dang it, that would have been cute. I'm adding a couple more pieces of foam adhesive behind the top part of that tree. And then there we have our cute window. Let's finish that up with some trim. This also has snow that goes on top of your roof of the window, which I think is a really fun detail. I love these little window frames so much. I think they're so cute. They're so old-fashioned, and I love them. So I'm going to put that for all three windows, and they are adhering to like the tree and the curtains, and then the two side ones are really kind of just adhering to the curtains. Let's get that last one into place. This one also has a little kid pulling a sled. I am not really for people in my cards. I did use the one for the snowman because it made sense. this one, I was like, I'm going to do something different. We are still going to use the sled. There's presents in this die. This is the large die of the month. And so I'm still going to use the sled and presents. I just didn't feel like I wanted a person in my card because I'd rather have a critter than a person, if that makes sense. But look at how cute that is. I'm actually going to offset this to the right a little bit so it could fit the tree that I wish now was a snowman. I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind this. I do change this foam adhesive out because I realized it needs to be on top of the house, not kind of behind it. So I'm going to change that out, but that's how it's going to be. There is a die that cuts the like snow drifts for in front of the house. So I have that die cut from white cardstock. Obviously that will go at the bottom, and it covers up the house a little bit at the bottom, which I think is really cute. I am going to move that to cover up the top of the house. And then that's where that tree is going to go. Here is that snow drift. And I'm just making sure that everything looks good and where it's supposed to go. It's a little off-centered, so it looked a little off to me at first, but once I had everything else in place, then it looked totally fine. All right, so let's peel that back, put that in place, and sometimes you have to not overthink these things. I think I was overthinking a lot of things on this card in particular, and probably because I was super tired. So 1mm foam adhesive behind the house. You don't have to do this. You could just glue this directly to the background because this already has 2mm foam adhesive, but that's just how I wanted it to go. Actually, the snowdrift has 3mm foam adhesive, so cute, cute. Then we have our Christmas tree lights. Well, no, our house lights that go on the house. Here's where I'm going to change that snowdrift because I did not love it. But you can see that little, the string of lights. I love this detail. I love Christmas lights. I love anything to do with stamps, dies, anything that have Christmas lights on cards. I think it's so fun. So I'm going to do those in the same color that I did the little Christmas balls on the Christmas tree. And then I'm going to find the right place for this and glue that down. And then we can add all of our cute little Christmas balls. I think my glue is clogged. All right, let's get that in place. I'm just going to use my Pick Pro tool to add that. This sentiment says that I'm going to be using on this one is Sending Christmas Magic, which I think is perfect for this card. I think that snow looks better on top of the house. And then now I can put all of these little guys in place, and I'm just going to go in the order of yellow, blue, red, and green across the whole top. And I'm just going to add dots of glue, and it goes pretty darn fast. But I think this is a fantastic die. I think you could just use this over and over. If you have other little dies that you can put inside that window, maybe you could even put the kid in there decorating the Christmas tree because it's really kind of the view from behind or from the side. And that would be cute too, you guys. That could be really cute. I think that might work. Not 100%, but I think it would. No, maybe not. I think, you know what, those kids are bigger. Scratch that idea. But that would be cute. All right, let's get the last few of our Christmas lights. Then we have our presents. I have die cut the ribbons from Gold Mirror cardstock, and the presents are die cut from the Teal, Topaz, and Pomegranate cardstock from Spellbinders. I wanted to keep that simple, kind of bright and fun. And then we have the sled, which is die cut from Acorn and Pomegranate cardstock. We have our cute Christmas tree, just like the three that we did at the beginning. I'm going to do this one exactly the same and just adding my little pieces of snow onto there. This one, I did not add any shimmer or marker to the snow, and I should have. I just kind of forgot that I needed to do that. But you could do that to make everything cohesive, but it was also fine on this one that it didn't. Sometimes cards just work out that way. That is going to hang off the left side just a little bit. Here is our darling little sled, and I'm going to adhere the handle. So again, this die has a little kid pulling the sled, and it is really cute, but I'm just kind of not for the people, like I said, on my cards. And then I'm going to stack the presents on here. I have 6 presents. We're going to use all 6 of those. There is little embossed areas that show you, or debossed areas that show you where the ribbon and bows go. So I'm going to put all of those in place. Again, those are from Gold Mirror cardstock. And then there is a little die piece. So if you want to stack your presents, you can adhere it to that little piece and they will stay together. So there's my little one. I wasn't sure. I didn't think I was going to use all 6, but I did, and I'm glad that I did. But I feel like this is such a cute little Christmas house scene. And someone's bringing over a bunch of presents on the sled, and it is darling. Okay. So let me get, how cute is that sled? Isn't that so cute? And then we can stack the presents, but this is why I realized I needed that die. So I'm going to die cut that from white cardstock. You're not even going to see it. And it looks like the letter T. But you should start at the top. I started at the bottom. You should start up at the top to make sure that all of that is completely covered. So I did have to move these up just a little bit. And then I'm going to have a couple that are on the snow. For that one, I used foam adhesive, so I really didn't need to cut another one of those little T pieces to go behind it because I used foam adhesive in that same manner. I need to cut off some of that excess ribbon because it was just kind of hanging off a little too far. And then I'm going to put one of these little boxes next to that one. I feel like the little kid is here delivering presents to the neighbors, pulling their little sled full of presents and just taking them to all the neighbors, which I think is darling. And then we can get our presents in place. Here's our stack. Isn't that so cute? And then I will stack the other 2 like I mentioned, but I will use foam adhesive for that, and that will be right next to the sled. And I used 1mm foam adhesive. It's pretty low profile. So this card does have a lot of dimension. You don't have to do as much dimension as I did at all, but I love dimension on my cards. So if you could just use a lot of like 1mm and 2mm instead of the 3mm. Let's adhere this tree down. I'm going to do 3mm at the top and a little bit of liquid glue there. And then I can trim that excess off that's hanging off the side. And I am going to bring in glossy accents because I always feel like Christmas lights need to be bright and shiny. So we're going to add glossy accents to that and to the Christmas balls. And we have to adhere our sentiment with 1mm foam adhesive, sending Christmas magic. Remember, we foiled this with red foil. And I'm going to place that on the top of the snow at the top of the house. And then let's use our gorgeous glossy accents. I love it. I forgot about it for a while, and now I am back to using it again, which is really fantastic. And then I'm going to set that aside to dry. Okay, our final card. I'm not going to show foiling again because I foiled it exactly the same as the first time with the opal foil. But I remember the snowman, when they were laying on top of each other, I thought it looks like the snowman kind of melted. But then when I put this card together, it looked like the snowman was looking up at the snow falling down. So it could be either one. So I am just going to place the snowman covering his little buttons a little bit crooked. I have die cut those ovals. Oh, you know what? I don't remember what they're called, but I will have them listed and linked for you guys below in the description. They're from Spellbinders, some ovals, like nesting dies. And I die cut from Teal, Topaz, Pomegranate, and white cardstock. This is a really super simple card, but I really wanted to see a lot of that gorgeous foil. So that this top piece I'm adhering down, I die cut from the center of that A2 size piece, and then I'm just going to put it on top. Then we're going to adhere our cute little snowman, and look, it looks like he's kind of looking up at the sky, or it also looks like he's melted. So either one, and he's really cute. And the sentiment here says merry and bright. I'm going to place it at the top. And then I thought it would be cute to bring in a red heart. I feel like on his body, because you don't see his buttons, he needed a little something else. So I'm going to bring in a little red clay heart. Of course, I'm adding my BG10 marker and my shimmer pen to him. And then I'm going to add a clay heart to him and my other snowman. But that little detail of the marker and then pink cheeks really works. So here's those little clay hearts. I'm going to put that in place on both of my snowmen. Okay, let's take a look at these up close. They all will be adhered to A2 size card bases. But look at our stenciled snowman. Look at our gorgeous glimmer plate with that opal foil. It's so pretty. Then we have the small die of the month and our large die of the month. I think all of these cards turned out so super cute. Thank you guys for joining me today for this video. Remember, I do have everything time-stamped for you in this. If you like what you've seen, give my channel a thumbs up, comment if you'd like, please subscribe. I hope that you enjoyed these projects. I hope that you feel inspired, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye.